Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're still dealing with the fallout from last week's holiday, Halloween, as a new video from Teen Vogue was released a few days ago, which had their staff and SJWs crying about all the offensive and, quote, hurtful costumes. This comes from a tweet they sent out saying, "This costume is extremely hurtful, not only for myself, but the generations before me. Don't do it, y'all." The video is called My Culture is Not a Costume, and without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out, shall we?
My name is Yasmin Yunus. I am a first-generation Iraqi-American Muslim. I'm also a student and an activist.
It sucks to see that.
It's offensive. It's
like a butchering of my culture. I didn't spend 23 years as a Chinese-born American to live next to this.
So you're 23 years old. No wonder you sound so ditzy and stupid. Between that and your liberalism, this girl doesn't stand a chance. And as far as being offended by Halloween costumes from your culture, well, that's more of a you problem than an us problem. Us normal, level-headed, well-put-together Americans don't give a shit about this stuff. This is a free country after all, and you can dress up however you want. Sure, I might see a costume or two that makes my head turn. There's even been some I would say are maybe inappropriate, but I would never go so far as to say I'm offended, or that someone should stop wearing them. And I certainly wouldn't make a gay little video crying about it in an SJW echo chamber like Teen Vogue has here. And quite frankly, I find it pretty ironic that a Chinese-born American like this chick would complain about this. Think about it. Her family left China for a reason, probably many reasons. But one that immediately comes to mind here is that China's government is very overbearing. They're communists and they're also pro-censorship. Basically, China's government is very controlling and, ironically enough, they might actually be the ones who would ban a costume like this. Now, here's the kicker. This girl here in the video, she left China for a better life in America because we are more free here and awesome. And what does she go and do? Well, she's grown up and now she's complaining about having too much freedom, saying her fellow Americans have costumes that offend her. She's virtually campaigning for the types of public control she left her homeland of China for. It's pretty ridiculous. You really can't make this shit up.
I'm of multiracial descent, including Taino Arawak, which is the indigenous First Nations people of the Caribbean. We're seen as just like TV characters, you know, the savage with the fringes and these boots that, you know, aren't even accurate. Even our body paint has meaning, and then, you know, you just put on this cheap paint that you probably got at the dollar store.
Would it really be better if they were using authentic Native American paint though? Because I don't think this dollar store argument has much merit otherwise. Really, I think you're trying to bash people for having cheap costumes. And that's fair, maybe. There are a lot of cheap costumes out there, but to be fair to their side, Halloween is just one day per year. And usually you just wear these costumes once ever, so going the cheap route isn't the worst idea. As for the complaints about authenticity, like about the boots, well, I think these points are all moot now too. What's really going on here is this girl is mixed race and she's having trouble coping with it, so she's lashing out and attacking anyone who wears a Native American costume. It's not about the authenticity or the price tags of it. It's about her trying to attack white people. Same goes for that Chinese chick before and the others here too. It's just a video full of female SJWs who are so weak-willed and fragile, seeing people wearing certain costumes trigger them and sparks boring crybaby videos like this.
Is that historically it was illegal to practice anything that had to do with Native Hawaiian culture. So my grandmother is currently in her 70s, and she's finally learning how to dance hula. And she's been creating her hula skirt and her lei for weeks now. And this is nothing what it looks like.
Well, a Hawaiian lei is just some flowers on a string, so it really shouldn't be taking her weeks to make that, even if she is really old. 5 minutes tops, otherwise you're doing it wrong. And I'm not buying all these fake crocodile tears here either. Wait, hold on, sorry. I don't want to offend crocodiles by comparing them to this Hawaiian chick, who clearly needs to get her shit together. I mean, I thought these chicks were over the top and hysterical before, but damn, this girl's already crying her eyes out, and we're just past the 1 minute mark in this video.
This costume is extremely hurtful, not only for myself, but for the generations that had to go through this erasure.
Now, your instincts might tell you to pity this girl because she's got gross, salty tears dripping down her face and hanging off her chin, but let's not forget, most girls can cry on command, and they also tear up and bawl like babies over everything, clearly, especially the ones in this video. I mean, if a Halloween costume can make you cry, pretty much anything can, so it kinda neuters the severity of all this. And as for the storied colonial history of Hawaii, well, there's not really enough time to get into all of that here, but I will say this, modern Hawaii is certainly better off since becoming part of the United United States. You know, joining one of the greatest countries in the modern world, there are many benefits for them becoming a state in our union, one of which is the right to freedom of speech and expression, and included in that is the right for people to wear costumes of whatever they want. Now, you also have the right to be offended. These Teen Vogue people have that. They have the right to be offended and the right to make these silly SJW videos, but we also have the right to make fun of you for them. There's also a slippery slope here that can't be ignored. If these Teen Vogue chicks can stop people from wearing these costumes because they're offended, where does that end? I could say stop wearing those big silver earrings, they offend me, and then you have to take them off. And someone else could tell this Chinese chick not to wear this sweater, and so on and so forth. Eventually, everyone is offended by everything, and we're all stuck wearing neutral, colorless, Star Trek-esque uniforms. Starfleet, like we're some kind of cult or communist utopia. Brave new world, here we come, y'all. That's what the lefties want, I guess.
Pick in particular bothers me because our hair is stigmatized as being untidy and just incredibly insensitive to the actual real struggles that African Americans have wearing their natural hair.
Another millennial offended by something. Color me shocked. Here's the problem with this one though. Black people do actually wear those picks in their hair like this, and them having unkempt hair isn't a stigma. It's an actual thing that happens sometimes. Not always or usually, but very often. Black people do have unkempt hair in styles, like this fro in the video right here. Sure, you can maintain a clean and tidy fro if you really try hard, but the large majority of fros out there are just these big, messy dirt balls of unkempt hair. And don't even get me started on dreadlocks. Same thing goes for them. They are smelly and gross 90% of the time. Let's not lie to ourselves. And just because this 22-year-old SJW is triggered about a black stereotype that's mostly true, doesn't mean the whole world is going to start pretending it's not. This girl's got similar problems to that mixed race one, except this black chick, she can't deal with being black in America. She's got a minority complex and it's very off-putting. You look jelly, girl, and it ain't a good look.
I identify as a first-generation Latina. Obvious examples of chola culture might be hoop earrings, drawn-on eyebrows, or heavy lip liner.
Okay, first of all, I have to say again, this is a real thing that people of this race wear. I live in LA. I've seen both of these black and brown stereotypes in the flesh, so if they really want others to stop dressing up like them, they should probably start by not wearing these things themselves. The other important thing right here is this. I'm starting to highly doubt people actually wear these costumes. The video brings out all of these stereotype costumes that no one really wears anymore anyway. I've never seen someone dress up like a straight up chola Mexican chick, or that black guy with the fro. That's a costume that hasn't been around in decades. And who would dress up like a straight up Chinese person like this? This all looks bogus as hell to me. This Teen Vogue video could have used some actual pictures or something, some actual sources of people wearing stuff like this. Give me some evidence people were actually wearing similar outfits and this video would be a lot better for it and more believable, because right now it looks like Teen Vogue is just making this shit up.
Halloween would be the worst time to co-opt a person's culture because it's a day of dressing up as things that are completely out of the ordinary or very bold or very provocative.
No, it's not. You can dress up as whatever you want for Halloween. It can be something bold and provocative, or it can be subtle and understated. You can dress up as an over-the-top stereotypical character or more realistic, historically accurate one. It's really up to you because, again, we live in a free country. America, God bless. So if the SJWs are free to get offended, then we are free to offend them. And let's not pretend things are getting violent or illegal here anyway. Offensive costumes are not something the government needs to regulate. The real issue that needs to be dealt with here is these millennial SJW girls and their outrage culture. They need to learn to deal with things and not be offended all the time, not the other way around.
So wearing someone else's culture on that day is incredibly offensive because you're basically saying their culture is othered in a way that is almost funny, humorous, or, you know, scary.
No, we're not. You're the one who's taken it that way because you are weak and insecure about being a minority. That's why you say people in their costumes other you, which isn't even a real thing. Let's face facts. You and these other SJWs, you're minorities in a majority white country. And what goes with that is, yes, there's more of a chance white people will dress up as the minorities because that's more of a different look for them. But there's nothing wrong or offensive about this. The lefties in Teen Vogue are just a little butthurt. They're insecure and it's oh so obvious.
When you see this costume, what do you think? People tend to think terrorist, or they tend to think barbaric, or they tend to think uncultured or uncivilized, and they make fun of that. that kind of just goes with like what the media has kind of done with my identity and my background and my religion.
What the media has done is reported on the radically out of control terrorism problem Muslims have. And yes, some of their ways and practices are barbaric too. Like, throwing gay people off of buildings or marrying your cousins or 13-year-olds. Gross shit like that. No one's making Muslims do this shit either. And the media isn't making all this up. So if this girl really wants to change her people's reputations, she should be turning to them and telling them to act more reputable. Because right now, she's just shooting the messenger.
Cultural appropriation is theft.
Cultural appropriation is taking aspects of another person's culture and using them mainly completely out of context.
Members of a dominant group borrow elements from a marginalized group while actively erasing the people of that culture and diminishing the meanings of what we practice.
Jesus Christ. Could you read those liberal talking points any more robotic or inauthentically? And she was saying that costume wasn't authentic. You sound like a goddamn cyborg. And this is why that NPC meme really caught on so well recently. These left-wingers literally sound like fake video game characters with pre-programmed responses to all their bullshit terms like cultural appropriation, which again is not a thing. If anything, it's cultural appreciation, and we should just leave it at that. But if we do want to start getting covetous and tribal with things in our culture, I would ask that these black and brown chicks stop appropriating my English language. My English and British ancestors spent centuries writing and perfecting this language, and its American dialect too, so I really don't appreciate all these minorities appropriating it. Oh wait, I forgot. Cultural appropriation is only bad when white people do it, according to the left. Just like how all these Halloween costumes are only bad when they're worn by white people, because this whole video and premise is a way to shame and ridicule us. But fortunately, these chicks really just made themselves look young, dumb, weak, and stupid. Well done, Teen Vogue.
The majority of us know that blackface is cultural appropriation, but that is how I view and how my people in the indigenous community view this costume. We have endured a history of being pushed into the background, that even in Hawaii, where I'm from, that we're still a minority in what is and has been our homeland.
Guess this chick is trying to speak for all of Hawaii now. I'm not sure she has the authority to do that, and I'm sure they wouldn't appreciate it either, because I highly doubt all Hawaiians are hormonal, overly emotional, whiny little brats about this. And I bet a lot of the girls are better looking there too. But hey, hot chicks are never in these videos for a reason. Not only do good looking, in shape, well put together women not complain about silly shit like Halloween costumes, they also have better shit to do, because they're usually conservatives who have jobs and families, not liberals who have cats and useless women's studies degrees, like these cringy SJWs at Teen Vogue. In the end, this video feels like I'm time traveling. I feel like I've seen and covered videos like this 2 years ago, back in 2016. BuzzFeed and MTV News used to make bullshit like this all the time, and they all failed with it too, and thankfully moved on to other things. But I guess Teen Vogue didn't get the memo here, and it looks like leftists can still always find a handful of American minorities who are wildly out of control emotional train wrecks, who cry and yell racist when they see costumes on Halloween they don't like. Absolutely embarrassing and shameful, and the cast of this video should really feel like losers right about now, because, well, it's true, they kind of are. What do you guys think? Are Halloween costumes racially insensitive? Do you think these SJWs are insecure about their minority status? And would you bet this is just another anti-white thing, like how cultural appropriation complaints are always about white people? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and don't forget to check our updated links below this video as well. We've got social media, Twitter, and a Patreon support link as well, and also some links to playlists with collections of our older videos. Thanks again for watching today, and we'll see you all next time.